Here's what the money can go for. Here's what the money can go for. What about the idea of the Interborough Express being funded with this money? To work in Queens and get to your job in Brooklyn or vice versa. We can get that done. What about ending the transit desert in East Harlem and finishing up the 2nd Avenue subway? That's what we can do as well. You know, cities all around the world have tried this, but nobody else in the United States of America. This is when we demonstrate leadership.
Yeah, it scares the hell out of me. Imagine how I felt when my mother, a couple of years before she died, told me she didn't feel like a New Yorker anymore because there wasn't an elevator at her station and she couldn't use the subway anymore. She was right. It's time to make the whole system accessible, and congestion pricing gives us the resources to keep doing it. Our neighbors across the river seem content to let traffic keep choking our streets. They are our streets, in case anybody is confused about that. I'm still waiting for the call where they ask our opinion about tolls on the Jersey Turnpike in the Garden State. I'm sure it's coming any day now. Now, they don't like it when I say, you know, we have a problem in this country with climate deniers, with election deniers, and now we're dealing with traffic deniers. So I'm just going to say it's a simple problem. It's called inertia addiction. These are self-styled problem solvers who've actually never lifted a finger for mass transit, even when there was a half-finished rail line in their own goddamn district. We in New York deal with our problems. Kathy Hochul has given us the strength to run a great MTA system. We want to do something about climate change, and as the governor said, we want to do the 2nd Avenue subway and Penn access so people in those historically disadvantaged communities have access to jobs. Too, your time has value. Less congestion means less time spent sitting in traffic, waiting to get where you're going. We actually have...
that Jano referenced. I live in Hell's Kitchen. Anyone been there? I think I know why it's named Hell's Kitchen for both past reasons and current reasons. So congestion deniers, grab a lawn chair. I'll bring the beer. We'll sit outside my apartment, morning or evening, both if you wish, and we will watch the lack of congestion around Hell's Kitchen, the thousands of cars trying to get in and around the Lincoln Tunnel, the thousands of buses, by the way, that they're trying to come from the Port Authority to bring folks back to New Jersey. There is congestion in this city. There is congestion in my neighborhood. Come, I will show you what it looks like.
Been a very strong supporter of congestion pricing. And the name of the game is improving our air quality.
Congestion pricing will help us achieve our ambitious and bold climate goals. Congestion pricing is finally here. We are going to make this happen. Credit to the Transit Mobility Review Board on thoughtful recommendations, and let's get this vote done at the MTA board. This is a great day for New York City. Thank you.
The J train and the F train to get into the city, because for anyone who came from Southside Jamaica, Queens, you knew that driving into the city was a recipe for stress, anxiety, and lateness.
5 train, let's hear it for the 5 train. So a few months ago, I had a pretty bad cold. You might say that I was badly congested. And I couldn't breathe, and I was really deeply unhappy. And I had the good fortune of taking a good decongestant. And I think probably some of you have had that moment when you go from having a bad cold to being invest in transit capacity. It'll be easier to get in and out of this city for millions of New Yorkers, and that's what we're here today doing. So I want to just say a big thank you to Riders Alliance, to WEAC, to LCV, to Tri-State, to Move New York, and of course to our friends at the MTA who are stepping up to develop a plan to invest those resources that will truly secure the future of our subways and the future of our city. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it?
emergency procurement. $1.4 billion later and dozens of contracts, we've concluded that we need to look at every contract before we grant them approval for emergency procurement. And New Yorkers know that that is true. A lot of those contracts have been totally appropriate with good pricing and good services, but some of those contracts have not been, like the $432 million .go contract with subcontractors that don't have the appropriate licenses for their security firms, in some cases paying hotels way above what we're paying others. So what we're doing is just restoring what the city charter provides, which is that they can come to us on an individual basis. Deep dive, we published it last week on $1.7 billion of total emergency procurement. And there's some things in there that are totally appropriate, but there are some things in there that really are big problems. 80% of them don't have performance reviews. The vast majority of them aren't reporting their subcontractors. There's just too many holes in the way that City Hall was using that blanket permission. Again, they can still use emergency procurement. We only take a couple of days to turn around a request. They bring it to us. And let's be clear, they've got many other methods for contracting for shelter and services. They've got a broad contract with the hotel